Ready? Yes. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We have met here this morning with our regional chairman to throw more light on the issues concerning cocoa industry in the country. During the elections, we heard what our colleagues said about the price of cocoa. At the time, NPP came out with a price of 3,100 per 64 kilograms. Our colleagues from NDC criticized the increment and they came out with a figure of 6,000. At that time, the price of Ivory Coast and Ghana were comparable. Of late, we have been informed that Ivory Coast has increased the price by 22.22%. And yet, the government of NDC, when they were asked, when are they going to increase the price of cocoa for farmers, they haven't come out with any figure yet. So the Minority Caucus, specifically the Agri Committee of Parliament, has decided to have this press conference today to throw more light about what is happening. So at this stage, I'm inviting the ranking member, Dr. Isaac Yaopoku, to address us and throw more light what the minority has to say about the increment of cocoa price in the country. Thank you.
So thank you. Thank you very much, Doc. So as you have been told, this is a press conference by the Minority Caucus of the New Patriotic Party. The Minority Caucus of the New Patriotic Party urges government to stop the excuses and increase the producer price of cocoa now. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, good morning and welcome to the press conference of the Minority Caucus. We have called you here to express our concerns about the government's failure to adjust the producer price of cocoa. As you may be aware, on the 8th of April 2025, Ghana Cocoa Board issued a letter signed by Dr. James Kofi Kutiate, Acting Deputy Chief Executive in charge of operations, and addressed to the Executive Secretary of the Licensed Cocoa Buyers Association of Ghana, otherwise known as LICOBAG, titled Cocoa Price Adjustment for the 2025-2026 cocoa season. And they cited two reasons why they cannot adjust the price. For those of you who haven't seen the first letter, this is a copy of that letter. And I read, Cocoa Board price adjustment for 2025-2026 cocoa season. Following the recent announcement of producer price increase in Côte d'Ivoire, management of Cocoa Board has decided to maintain Ghana's current producer price. The decision comes after careful consideration of the operational and financial implications for the industry. Listen to the contents carefully. Management of Cocoa Board has decided, it means they have taken a firm decision. And listen to what they said after just 24 hours. Another release was issued by Public Affairs Department of the same Cocoa Board, titled Public Should Disregard Any Statement Suggesting a Producer Price Announcement And they also gave two different reasons as to why they cannot adjust the producer price. And again, for those of you who haven't seen the press release, this is a copy. And again, I read. All media houses, the title, the public should disregard any statement suggesting a producer price announcement. The public is advised to disregard any statement or any news suggesting a decision or announcement on the producer price of cocoa. The first one says a firm decision has been taken. The second one says we should disregard any decision. The same institution, the same organization, Cocoa Board. Where is the confusion coming from? And again, they stated two reasons why they cannot increase the producer price. The first reason is that there is no board of directors in place. Then the second one also says there is no producer price review committee also in place. These are the two reasons. The first one says that is the decision. The second one says no decision. Producer price, bakope. Excuses, Libri. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, we are shocked and highly disappointed by the two releases, which both point all to one fact, that Cocoa Board, and for that matter, the NDC government, will not increase the producer price of cocoa for the 2025-2026 season. This posture of government raises a number of questions. Question number one, I'll come to that in a moment. As you may be aware, we are still in the 2024 crop season. The 2025-2026 crop season has not turned up yet. It will begin from 1st October 2025, which is about 6 months away from now. The first question is the government and Cocoa Board telling cocoa farmers in particular and Ghanaians in general that between now and the 30th of September, when 2024-2025 crop season ends, there won't be any price adjustment irrespective of what happens in the international and the local market? Ladies and gentlemen, this is a stab in the back of cocoa farmers and a sharp departure to the NDC's own manifesto. Those of you who have a copy of the manifesto, you can turn to page 43, and I quote, "The NDC government will ensure regular price increments depending in line with the world market trends." So the questions we are asking, what has been the market trend today? And again, what is the world market price today? Is the NDC also reneging on their campaign promise to pay the cocoa farmer 70% of the FOB price? Ladies and gentlemen, if you have forgotten, this is from Eric Opoku. I have, yes, the current Minister for Food and Agriculture. I have announced government's decision to exceed the initial 60% proposal and offer cocoa farmers 70% of the world market price. This is Eric Opoku. The same Eric Opoku saying the same thing here. Then this is Honorable Atuforsen, the current finance minister. I will raise the price of cocoa from 3,100 Ghana cedis to 6,000 per bag in my capacity as the finance minister. Atuforsen speaking. So, ladies and gentlemen, these promises of NDC, were they done in vain, or they were just propaganda just to win votes? Cocoa farmers believed in the promises made by the NDC and voted overwhelmingly to bring the party into power. The government must therefore stop the numerous excuses and honor its promise and increase the producer price now. Ladies and gentlemen, all the reasons, as I've indicated, all the reasons cited by Cocoa Board in their two releases as to why they are unable to adjust the producer price are untenable. All those 4 reasons are untenable. I'll take them one after the other. The first one is the operational challenge. We want to know from Cocoa Board, what are they doing differently from the previous administration? They should tell Ghanaians, we want to know if their operational challenges so compelling that they cannot adjust the producer price, they should let Ghanaians know. Then the other reason they cited is the absence of the Producer Price Review Committee. And ladies and gentlemen of the press, I will forgive the Chief Executive because he's new. And I'm also told the Public Affairs Director is also new, so I'll forgive him. But for your information, the Producer Price Review Committee is a standing committee. It is a standing committee. It is already in place. So they don't need the board of directors to form the committee. They don't need the board of directors to inaugurate the committee. The committee is already in place. And for your information, the sector minister is the chairman of the Producer Price Committee. The deputy chief executive in charge of operation, the one who signed the letter, he is a member of the committee. And in fact, he is the chairman of a sub-committee of the Producer Price Review Committee known as the Technical Committee. So the operations chief executive of Cocoa Board, he is a member of the Producer Price Committee. And it's a standing committee, so they cannot use that as an excuse not to adjust the producer price. The other reason they cited is financial implication. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, the government must not hide behind Cocoa Board's debt and deny farmers their legitimate share of the FOB for their toil and sacrifices. It is important to note that Cocoa Board has the economic size and the financial capacity to pay whatever debts it owns. It may interest you to know that today, over 70,000 hectares of cocoa swollen shoot virus diseased farms and moribund farms, which were habilitated by the previous administration from the AFDB loan, have started yielding, which is a positive sign for the industry. So the money wasn't taken just for nothing. The debt wasn't taken just for nothing. If your father contracts loan and he builds a house for you and you inherit the house, you don't chastise your father by saying that, oh, my father borrowed so much. You are not talking about the property that he left behind. You are only complaining about the debt. Ladies and gentlemen, as at February 2025, cocoa purchased and taken over by Cocoa Board was more than 560,000 metric tons. I'll take that again. As at February 2025, cocoa purchased and taken over by Cocoa Board was more than 560,000 metric tons. This is close to $3 billion. This is close to $3 billion dollars. And in terms of cedis, it is in excess of 45 billion based on the achieved average FOB price and the cash flow in just 5 months within the 2024-2025 year, beginning from October 2024. So anybody talking about Cocoa Board's debt without situating it within the context of its economic and financial capability to pay would therefore be making a sad mistake. It is worthy to note that the new financing model, known as self-financing model, introduced by the immediate past NPP administration, has further strengthened the financial capability of Cocoa Board. For the first time in 32 years, Cocoa Board did not go for annual syndication loan to finance the 2024 crop. No borrowing whatsoever this 2024 season. There was no borrowing. As at January 2025, more than 2 billion receipts have come through Bank of Ghana. As of January 2025, more than $2 billion receipts had come through Bank of Ghana. This is the biggest cocoa board receipt ever to be brought into the country within 4 months, from October 2024 to January 2025, without any borrowing or syndication loan or any attendant cost. And when we are talking about the attendant cost, we are talking about the interest on the facility, the syndication loan, the commitment fee, the administration fee, and the legal fee. So this year, there was no borrowing at all. The Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo Bawumia administration, they have introduced what we call self-financing model. So there's no need to take any loan from any external source. Again, it is important to note that the payment of Cocoa Board's debts is not going to happen within 1 year. They are talking about 32 billion. But remember, we are not going to pay all within 1 year. The payment structure has been spread over annual, medium term, and long term. The 10-year loan, listen to this one carefully. The 10-year loan inherited from the previous government. So they are talking as if in 2017, they left the NPP government a clean slate. That wasn't the case. They also left some debt behind, but the Nana Addo Bawumia administration managed to increase cocoa prices as and when they became necessary. The debts also includes the Bui Dam loan, the cocoa bills and bonds are all part of the long-term debts. The AFDB loan and cocoa roads are the medium-term debts, and the operational costs are the chemicals, the fertilizer cost, and the CTORs. The CTORs are cocoa takeover receipts. They are all annual. So the debt has been structured into three. We have annual, we have medium-term, and we have long-term. Cocoa Board's capability to meet its annual financial obligation is not in doubt at all, given the present cocoa taking over and the receipts inflow. Our hard-working cocoa farmers and Ghanaians must therefore be wide awake and reject any attempt by the NDC government to blame its inability to increase the producer price on Cocoa Board's debts. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, the recent hike in Côte d'Ivoire has created a significant disparity that threatens to exacerbate cocoa smuggling across the border. The Ivorian government decision to increase cocoa prices from 1,800 CFA to 2,200 CFA per kilo, representing a substantial 22.24% rise, has widened the price gap between the two West African cocoa giants. At the current exchange rates, Ivorian farmers are now receiving the equivalent of 3,635 Ghana cedis per 64 kilo bag of cocoa, a staggering 535 more than Ghana. This stark difference presents an irresistible incentive for smugglers to divert cocoa from across the borders, particularly to a mass exodus of our prized light crop beans from the borders, that is the Western South, Western North, and the Bono and Ahafo regions. Ladies and gentlemen, another serious consequence of the unfortunate decision or indecision of Cocoa Board not to pay competitive producer price is the tendency of farmers to sell their cocoa farms for illegal mining activities, especially in the face of surging gold prices. It is imperative to note that the previous administration demonstrated the foresight and flexibility to adjust cocoa prices promptly when faced with significant disparities between Ghana and Côte d'Ivoire. This proactive approach helped maintain the integrity of our cocoa industry and protected our farmers' interests. The current administration's failure to act swiftly in the face of this growing crisis is both baffling and deeply concerning. We call upon the government to make immediate and decisive action to address this pressing issue. The time for lamentations and blame game has passed. What we need now is a substantial increase in cocoa prices to match or exceed those offered in Côte d'Ivoire. This is not merely an economic decision, but a matter of national security and the preservation of our agricultural heritage. The government must act now to safeguard our cocoa industry, protect our farmers' livelihood, and maintain Ghana's position in the industry. Failure to do so will result in irreparable damage to our economy and a betrayal of the hard-working farmers who form the backbone of our nation's agricultural sector. The clock is ticking and the eyes of the nation are watching. It is time for this administration to prove its commitment to Ghana's cocoa industry and its farmers. No more excuses. No more excuses. The government and cocoa board must keep their promise and pay the cocoa farmer a minimum of 6,000 cedis per bag. I thank you for your attention.
Ladies and gentlemen of the press, before we come to the P version, we will give you some 5 minutes. I have been told those that are interested in the account version, give room for Dr. Koku to try and summarize what he has said in account. And then after that, we do Q&A session at 5 or 10 minutes. Thank you.
Yo, anuanom ne adɔfo a yɛhyia mu ha. Asɛm a yɛpoto a yɛ no ne tia wɔ mu ne sɛ ɛbɛyɛ ɛna kakra nie ɛna cocoa board release statement mmienu. Yɛdi kan ɛyɛ nea ɔmo deputy chief executive in charge of operations ɔsanye ɛna ɔsɛ ɛnam operational and financial challenges nti ɔmo ntumi ntu cocoa mu. Cocoa board esigyinaye ɔmo asi ne pi sɛ ɛnam operational and financial challenges nti ɔmo ntumi ntu cocoa mu. Ɔmo 24 hours nam gas ɔmo sɔm de mama emabura adwuma. We dey 24 hours na pepepe. No ɔmo sign I issue another press release 24 hours now aba sɛ yensi gyinaye bia we letter we ɔmo si esi gyinaye na ɔmo de foforo aba sɛ yensi gyinaye bia na emom yɛntumi nto cocoa mu. The entire yɛntumi nto mu ne sɛ yɛwɔ committee bi a friend of producer price review committee yɛnyante yɛ ɛna yɛn board of directors so yɛntumi so ɛnte yɛ na enuanom ɛnyɛ no korɛ wofa nneɛma nan a ɔmo aka no a na edi kan no ɛne sɛ operational challenges ɛna na bibisa sɛ operational challenges na no ne deɛ ne ɔmo bɛto yɛ na ɔmo yɛ bibi foforo ana. If you say me my adwuma cocoa board ho emfie aduasa enan nti 34 years nti minim adwuma e wo ho nti na mi bi say omo ne say mo ba ye mo ye bibi foforo a Ghana fo enimu ana ene mo ma ye hu na so mo ye bibi sonko eno nti mo ntimi nto akuafo ebo no mu a mo nka nkire yen nyante bibi asa ene omo sa ka say financial implications na meba eno so akire ena afi omo ka say board of directors anyhow na your committee bi a omo na edi cocoa ebo ne ba a friend producer price review committee PPRC na ena make us yewura obeye chief executive ya fe no aba for ntimi de be che no ena ne obeye public affairs director nso mate se afi no nso aba for ntimi de be che no na mom yewura kutu ate de oye nipa dada ena yewura Francis Baso so eye nipa dada omo nim se producer price review committee no a standing committee and your committee be a cote ewo emre bia ye wo dem ho a ye kasa committee no ewo ho a sector minister no ono na ye chairman na akuafo ɛwɔ rep ɛwɔ so Bank of Ghana governor no ɔyɛ member ɔno antimi ankɔ a na wasoma wɔ bi akɔsi nanan mu maka kuafo de ɛna holies ɔmo twe kokoo no ɔmo wɔ mo nsi anan mu wɔ mu ɛna LBCs licensed buying companies no ɔmo so wɔ ɔmo nsi anan mu wɔ mu ɛna research institution ɛwɔ Legon ayɛ friend ISA no so no ɔmo so wɔ nsi anan mu ɛwɔ mu nti yɛ standing committee board of directors no nyɛ ɔmo na ɛbɛte committee no nti yɛ excuse a ɔmo ka ɛni enyinaso bia ɛna masan so akyerɛ mu sɛ cocoa board ɔmo wɔ enyinaso they have the financial and the economic size eka bia ɔmo de no ɔmo betumi atua na ya na NDC for no kasa ɔmo kasa te sɛ nea ɔmo no eja aban mu akɔ January 2017 ɔmo kɔ no na yɛ te sɛ ɔmo de clean slate ɔmo amoka bia nto enso entisa akra emerenti yesa nka mekyerɛkyerɛ mu pa emra cocoa board for friends NPP aban bae no no makwa jibosia 1.8 billion so many beto cocoa omo forecast anan kom so beto cocoa no so beto cocoa 850,000 metric tons NPP aban buy no mato cocoa no 611,000 metric tons so pe enso 1.8 billion dollars no mkwaje ye no ne kapre kra ye fitimu e bi ni cocoa board ho kapre bakra fitimo nyame ncha de saafia no yetokoko nkoa 950,000 metric tons and the difference of 350,000 metric tons no na cocoa board ekopnya sika wo he to mo ko pay bosia enom de be finances 350,000 metric tons no enti ye ka no enhyase no na MPP aban so bae no no makoje loan 10-year loan ya o makwakoje eno so yeguso tua ene ho ensi ho bosia na omo ka ho asem buidam ya ye nyina ye ho sika no eka ho omo nkyerɛkyerɛ akuafo mu na ene nyina akura nkamfu ano sesei sika afa Bank of Ghana nko a afie nko a we free October ebesi February sika afa Bank of Ghana nko a no eye $2 billion ni afa nko a o $2 billion no me de men konta enye papa nanso so mo amunim exchange rate say no wo de multiply Ghana exchange rate wa be hunu ne a obenya ansana aban we free so no free October ebesi 20 October 2024 ebesi February no na koko ya to na cocoa board a take over e ka se cocoa board ne o ma to no ma take over unse o to cocoa no na wo enkrase o share de no na cocoa board for nsan kan ye just all the ba o mo take over centers no o mo take over centers no miensa ye wo kase port de no ene ye wo takrade ene ye wo tema enti na cocoa bought and taken over by cocoa board no na ye 560,000 metric tons ne yenyina ye nim cocoa bo e wa amansan dwaso with the 560,000 metric tons in kwa eno ye up to February pe o with the multiply current exchange rate and we are talking about something in excess of 45 billion Ghana cedis and ye kasa na cocoa board for dia yentumi entua o papa when you abro akoje bosia se o de beye fie ye o de aye ajapade e de amount na wo bedi ade wo papa ni ho na wo ba na de bia na wo di wo papa atem wo bo so bo be papa ba ye oboka agu ho ade a o de sika ne ye ne de o nka ho asem emra MPP for ba ye omo ye survey na Ghana cocoa mfuo ne na yade e friend cocoa sasabro no ne friend cocoa swelling shoot virus disease no ne na yade na ka ne nko ano na ye 315,000 hectares 315,000 hectares. Oko Western North Hong Kong na 214,000 hectares. And another Sabron Achino. NDC for by Bemu 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016. Almost say, almost the Cocosa Sabrono, almost the Yomana, almost bear control, almost treaty, and almost Jamaica for Nanqua. Cocosa Sabron so create phone coin to me in treaty. The idea no treacherous antina make us say ye buy ye sobie no na yade no e ya ginsemu na cocoa board say there be ye ka say di yade ho agora e be gu cocoa no na omo kwaje loan from AFDB a omo de yes rehabilitation no enne sai ba bia na yade no wo no emu 70,000 de omo treaty ya ne ahya ase a eso ya ko NDC for eti cocoa yi enche on ba beto dwa ye baaye cocoa production na kosoro kakra no mabisa wo mo se omo ye konfa no chia na na odua cocoa a otimi eso na ma osan eti ana efi se afia na omaba cocoa wudua wonim se che ansa na atumi aso nti cocoa on benya na afia no so omo kasa omo baaye na cocoa na kosoro a mabisa wo mo efi se nchehye ye papa na na do dankwa na ewura ba womia de baaye no na ahya ase a eso aba eno nti cocoa no asase a etumi kosoro na de ba ko a na eye akuafo ene Ghana fo nyina eya ene se advocates for atom cocoa mu we de call ohanchi monchichemu a aduonu mienu ene ekirepo aduonu enan ena Cote d'Ivoire for atom mu de mu the Cote d'Ivoire for no so ye ne wo mo technical cooperation emre bia se omo betom cocoa mu omo Ghana fo amane yeso ye beto de mu ebo amane se ne ebe ya difference between the two countries and enye kese emma cocoa no yen smuggle enko the other side no na cocoa board for my issue letter edikan say akuafo se Cote d'Ivoire for kra tum kra ye de yentum asa de sebe na mo ne ye ni ye na ade chi ya na masan issue another one kra say first one na some anti ni ye a yes na sim so se nya ade a ye betum na nia yexre Ghana ban ne se wan to sa cocoa mo se wo hwa difference between Cote d'Ivoire and Ghana no 535 we de call Ghana sika ne mo a million no enum ene ekirepo aduasa enum enti se wantum na se sa difference yi wo ho a akuafo no bebre akuafo kra de wo mo fa nko a amane bone phone bi wa ko to cocoa no na omo de akọ efise de bia ya etise ye cocoa no ye smuggle yetimi smuggle e de bi ko Burkina Faso Togo nyina na ye de bi ko ye be fa bi free ba bia nye ba bia boda no kra no e wo ne nko a ti yesre aban se onyai excuses bebrebe no ene wei ochina wei ene wei ye wura awikopoku mo kai ye be to aba no o se akuafo nko na ado danko akufo ado ho o mo kwaji o mo nsesa efise nanado esisi wo mu da se wo mu na wo mu wa ban mu anka sa da no ano ko mbetu cocoa mu amena ko city mpinsia bag ba ko bia o kan wie na ewura to force e de beto so o mu mpanyimfo no bebre eka bi na ma ba ban mu January atwam February atwam March atwam October ene ye 4th your friends in April ene ye 14th mo se ye de ye nto cocoa no mu nyame so ncha de producer world market price no e da so wo soro entima fom nti ade nti na akuafo abre na ye de bomu bia enyeye nia wapoto amena afia no nyasa na ye ka no o de bomu a se ye nchi akuafo na wo mu ebre e de hwe ye nyina na nyame ya adom ne nya wemfo se ya yese ye ntum e ma akuafo nti ne ye ka kire NDC aban ese yesre wo mu nyai excuses bebrebe no ene we ene ochina no na se ne wo mu aka ese on beto cocoa mu amana kosidi empinwunsia no wo mu ntum e ma ye edamase
se say ye be twide na asa na ya prof
yeah fan fry
okay the be ni say
can they have copy for
yes I have copies I can give you whatever you want, either the hard copy or the soft copy. I can give you both.
Baby, I drew no. The Bamba Pine, I'm here with Sam Kakra. Bear me to Num Copsy Dubi. Now, Papa, so we are the Broford, while the Papa, so we didn't like. Now, Openino, and Yapena, a Yanwa at the Amai. To Oma Saswa, Rock press, I will free Nafi, Obusawa Simbusan. Yes, I said.
But I mean, the shy will assist more can see media. I mean, this are a year or your press conference. You said, boss, and I can also only make
Eboa ase de ma akuafo de say wa na mekan ye wa rekopoku o hwe ne press release we ya so o say I have announced government's decision to exceed the initial 60% proposal and offer cocoa farmers 70% of the world market price. So omukra the first no muka say ombema akuafo no FOB no free on board okoko no aye ton wo amanone no esika no nga 60% oba also no 70%. And here the air can say 6,000 no omka no tama ye beto aba no omumfa saa ma akuafo nsesa na we kire no omumfa.
Ma bi na ha.
But you don't come in at in Cambodia. Madam, the thing is, I said, Obey engage cocoa farmers no one. Namon woman at this agriculture. I'm a woman who said, NDC Gov't. I'm a Lucy woman.
Yabaya dodo. Yabaya dodo. Nanso so adwuma ye ne mu nyina na ye. Enti na yabehia mo hande. Enti endem so so moma ensem no so enko. Ba kuafo na no kra mete say youth bia ye say o mama aban na kakra bi. O mama to kokoro no ma o be demonstration. If say ya say ma me no na kwafuo mu de bi eduru duakese yase a ho na so ye besoe ne ahome. So enu nti na de bi akase ye kwafuo mu na me ne agina me ne wokọ. Aba no ye kọtọ no say o kai NDC for say mon toma yen. Ese mo toma yen ye ba ya ye betum akọ 6,000. And o mo to no boom e ma mo. Ya to ni boom a chese obi currency dan ma mo. Mo ba ya afi de mo ma excuses. Enti ye ne akuafo no be din sa wo so ye be ko nkrase no pa ye be ko ne ne akuafo no akwa akohihia. Na mo in the meantime na ye be hia mo ha no. Ene ba bi amoso mo wo bia no. Na mo so mo bo dawro no. If se ni ye mu na ye nyina ye pe.
Have you? Okay. Before show so be any ho dia. Na me gina party chairman and then me gina minority caucus. Enkanka committee o mo hwe kwaye no maso. Na ya damase. Tele ya twins afremo mo nyina maba amadwumadie na edisi ani so no. Akọ bọkọ te damase. Na ye hye mo se ye bekọ asusu na akuafo na kohia. Ba bia ye nya kokọ firi no. Western North ye bekọ ye beba ahafo ye beba bunu ye beba san ye nu kokọ fo no nyina akohia. Na ye susu abodawura akire wo mu. Na nsem bia se ombusa no omso nya kwan ye de abusa. E damase bebre nya mi hira mo nyina.
No.
Okay.
Yes. I prefer to have one-on-one interview with you.
Nani aye be mo sa be one-on-one.
So how do I
Yeah, Abushafo hasi solid TV. Dom kuma omo emrese bedwafie ene omeye ensemtwofo nhia mu. Na basically Edom kuma omo mrese bedwafie na omo ababaye ensemtwofo nhia mu na about meka ne nkrabata and that's about so kra wom mrese bedwafie a omo hwe kua adwuma ensem so na omo asem omo kan yan se ebra na NDC aban ewo opposition NPP etu koko price ne man call 3,000 no omo kan se enka omo na wa aban mu a enka omeye de chance no sapra no mo suggest say enka NPP4 ema koko kuafo 60 million enti ene nyame aboa ema NDC aban mu a omo hwe say I was able to 60 million, but almost said some for 60 million. And Marco Kuafo, not the Kachibia or Monfa or my church and say, was say MPP are buying Tabanomatia, and now 2 years, Sena Katina, Fesano, no, a cow boy, and Munim say NDC, but mobile betting the dead. Now, Omaka say, your mobile person as a Sempana Eba, Nemum, a MPP dear pa, or more a child. And my government and mobile and share, but I respect them. And then the minority will be led by the minority leader. Now almost so I call by a PZ, I hope I say, you know, and do here on your TV screen, Chama to me. ɛwɔ chama wuntumi ɛna afo so no chama wuntumi sɛ chama wuntumi ɛka
Asante media national chairman da.
Chama wuntumi
For the first time, you should meet my
chama wuntumi fa so yɛ campaign chama na ase chama wuntumi ɛka kyerɛ ɛsɛntwɔfoɔ sɛ asante media media national chairman da ɛnti no wɔfa saa akɔyɛ ɛwisi waka kyerɛ ɛsɛntwɔfoɔ sɛ ọmọ tó àbáyé ẹ̀ma no one of the MPs of Asante
South.
Because a man or Macas sentimental million. Yeah, I mean, about a press conference on Coco, but me fight a boy in Kumu, a boy of Kumu. Nancy, yes, Mulia Barco, won't say or can send me. I'm a NDC for so about to take on that.
Oh, me does say, me for a few days, no much here. Me mouth for a few jack South to 4. Ẹ̀yẹ yaba yẹ na mu a yẹ adwuma ẹ̀yẹ awawa sympathy mo do mu nyina yẹ de ewu yẹ beja yẹ nana ya owusu penyi na otoso mienu ofuru abanwa no enwa na yi ni kire community na enwa so akweside te enwa nyina begire mu ma na yẹ kama besa afa konyo sire mama nana ya owusu penyi otoso mienu etiri nkwa ekese pali nyina so ye beta na chiama ni team pona ye de etimi abamu ye de ama no aba obisa me asem Ghana ha ye wono bigi say ye politics ye si democracy kabi mami kabi amamu na ye nyina ye ni ye wo ho ana honorable in team for John or ye ranking member of defense and interior it is say BBC na efa o mine babo ho a well enukra na channel or MP na no ye Ghana ni do wa ho akonya say wo ma o mine hu de e koso ana me medwin say asem no obusa e asem no we de obusa wo gye aban no president and Agnes su say BBC es wo kare to say ye hwehwemu ni ehu baby efie de eba na ebe so anu aya so anu ye ntem se boniafo bi kura na eba na ke yehu ni ntem na esi anu kwan etimi hu boni bi e wo ho as Ghana ni as MP a obetimi ebusa sasemi na de won say asemi a honorable in team for jobusa obehwa asem poti no obusa nya ho no mo ka ho asemu wo ye ya na atendidie ediwe wa ye say ba asem poti na de ye dey ye nka ho asem na chese ampase bibi ye dey e ho ye wo man musu na enkrofo bi ene wo mo a wo musu obi akoka asem a ye nchiro no wo mo ka Westers Ghana ha ya wo mo kwa de no obunya MP so ebi ye MP se bi nye MP sa omo form hudi ya anyomu bibia yesi kabi mami kabi amamu ti se obi ka asem na se sebe emfa no kwa mu kra na wo se ye dey yɛto yɛnsa ɛfrɛ no security yɛto yɛnsa yɛdɛ ɛfrɛ no ne yɛhwɛ kwan yɛbɛfa so yɛde bɛna nyɛ saa Rambo star we as member of parliament ne fie na obi de ade ahyɛ n'anim na ɔmo kɔ ɔmo yɛ kidnappers ɛbɛdɔ mu sɛ ɔmo yɛ kidnapper to hu sɛ yɛn nyinaa minority no yɛkɔtaa yɛn nua no akyi sɛ yɛpɛ sɛ mmara ɛyɛ adwuma to ɔmo fa mmara kwan so ɛfrɛ yɛn nua no a ɔbɛkɔ na saa Rambo star ne deɛ yɛmpene so ma ne nyɛ dɛ NC.
Mama, Yamra party, NPP co-opposition, Obia call for unity. We also call for unity in the party.
And paying forecast is a priority back where they a book up my day. The unity need the idea a here my MP party no Sabria a general was a year to me ya can't a hubum. Not a cuckoo party near the AC hall. Ya yɛhwɛ NPP ne party etimi abaya papa ɔmama yɛ nneɛma bebree eti sɛ NPP ni bia ne wura ho bibi obi yɛ ne bi nyinaa yɛfɛ yɛbɔ ne nkyɛ yɛ ho na yɛ nyinaa yɛmmra yɛnka mom nneɛma tia tutu yɛ pa ne yɛmfa yɛ party ne yɛ dɛn ensi hɔ yɛ Ghana fo ehia yɛnka yɛ hu mom nneɛma amagye Ghana fo
ebi call on say Alan na mu so ma back and supporters in Samra back we also call for Alan supporters on Samra fi no MPP fo
ana maka sɛ MPP ni bia sɛ bibi baako mienu bi ntina ma wotetena ya saa bere de kan sɛ yɛn nyinaa yɛs yɛfu baako ma de yɛn nyinaa yɛsa yɛ de yɛmra yɛmɛfa yɛ party ne yɛ de ensuo election yɛ lose na yɛ party no as MPP de yɛ lose yɛ MPP party no ti yɛn nyinaa yɛmra yɛsa mɛyɛ yɛ party no
is it possible say MPP to back in 2028
oh it's highly possible o hwɛ enema a ɛde ɛkɔ hwɛ ɛnɛ na yɛka koko ɛho asɛm ne yɛbɛto abate nsɛm bebree kɔ MPP 40 more day wɔsɛ ɔmuma akuafoɔ 6000 ɛna ɔmama akuafoɔ sei but ɛnɛ wo buy word market kɔ so wo de also wontimi yɛ de ɛntu na me kora deɛ honorable kae a me yamu ɛhyɛ me ne sɛ wɔka the implication of saa deɛ wi ɔmaye wɔse baako sɛ cocoa smuggling ɛbɛkɔ so na yɛ agriculture history sɛ cocoa na producing country ya bɔ ho ban no smuggling ne kɔ so be free nsa sɛ ne munya wo yɛbɛbɔ Ghana ebiem so ɔsaka sɛ sɛ good ɛkɔ soro etubo sɛ kuafo nya pɛtɔ mo sas na yɛ dɛn ɛde amoma to good eti yesa na agriculture sector na etimi employ about 60% of Ghanaians sankrofo nyomo so adwuma yɛdan ba abɛpo omu nti ehu sɛ side o maye so o ma se so o ma dwen emfa akuafo sika omudi ama wo ma sa implication memi krom sɛ anka asia wawa se koko ho no me nkrofo adwuma enye adwuma yɛdan enye akuafo so abambebo mu nya anigye bi o mo be kwakwayɛ ama koko no so ayɛdan aba MPP ababo hu sɛ koko ne ade a ɛboa ɔman no etu hwɛ artificial pollination MPP for na de ba no mu yɛ pruning ɛne ade sɛ bia koko production yɛ dan ɛbɛkɔ so yɛsɛ nya hu sɛ yɛ ɛkɔ so ai ɛnɛ ɔmo de ba bɛgye ɔmo samba sɛ ɔmo ba ne koko no kɔ so koko ne yɛ nwie ne da kɔ na yɛ de ɛbae ɛyɛ MPP amamuo ɛne hyehyɛ yɛ pa wɔde yɛ to hɔ ma koko akuafo nti na ma koko no production ayɛ dɛ ɛkɔ soro sɛ
me da ase the member of parliament for constituency there Fija Kwabe South and then Ekobon Komono or part of the ranking member of Agric committee or Mumbe few man or my SMQ for Shema or my expose NDC for say a boy NDC for a share or Mundis or much as NDC for a camera say or the atro and a cushy and a beje or mine bosso and scam me say or Mama who work for Oman farm meeting at the Sharbulas is fast Dama or Simbema. Shan who said the minority caucus they are expected to move to the PZ by beer a toy no omne a jetty for on a coho casa. The live coverage will be filmed also at the Abramo.